All right, I got a little delay. I see you're connected. Perfect. Everything is going. I just need to get Instagram started, but I am so excited to chat with you, Jazz. Twin alert. All right. Cool. Thank you for everyone for tuning in, popping in. We are just waiting to double check all of the live stream connections. We are coming at y'all live today on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. Jazz, the other Jazz, is also streaming from her agency page, No Conformity. So let's just make sure. How you feeling?
Is this thing on?
It's on. Are you ready to chat all about music rollouts?
Yes, I'm so excited. I don't have anyone to ever talk about this with, so this is great.
Oh my goodness, we're gonna have such a good time, y'all. Thank you for your patience and us getting started. We're going through all the little technical difficulties and hiccups. I also have to reconnect my Instagram, so y'all give us just a cool second.
Jazz and Chad.
The
What's up,
Jazz.
Seti?
Okay,
What's
y'all.
up? Oh, I see some of my people. What's up, No Conformity fam? Share this. Say what's up in the comments. I know you guys usually see me on TikTok live. We switching it up because we on StreamYard, and StreamYard don't do TikTok live. So it's different.
Welcome, y'all. Welcome. We are about to get started with our next masterclass. This is the final one for 2024. I was going to try to do one next month, but I think I should calm down. I should calm down a bit. So this is going to be the last one for the year, y'all. Thank you for joining live. If you do have any questions for the Jazzes, this is Jazz or I. See, people can be like, "What's Jazz?" If you have any questions for us, you guys can leave them in the comment sections on the platform you're streaming from. So we are multi-streaming in a few different places today for this event. So just drop questions in those question box sections. If you're on LinkedIn, there should be a comment section for you to add questions in as well too. We are going to get started with some guest introductions. So I'll do my little short spiel. We'll run through what we're going to be chatting through in a quick agenda, and then we'll go from there. But welcome to everyone joining us live. Perfect. So I'm still checking for the UNE Instagram. There's a little bit of delay, but we are going to just kind of keep moving and grooving, and I will troubleshoot that in just a second. All right. Cool, y'all. So thank you so much for joining. We are going to keep this masterclass within 60 minutes. Y'all know, I know Jazz and I can talk about music rollouts forever, for hours, but we're going to keep this one within 60 minutes, short and sweet. Here is a brief agenda for what we're going to chat about today in today's session. We're going to go through a couple introductions. We're going to really talk about music rollout essentials. We've been getting a lot of questions about just the music rollout cycle. When should you start your release? What assets should I have for my next rollout? So we'll go through some core fundamentals. And then we're going to spend most of our time talking through fan engagement in 2024, highlighting some really cool campaign strategies from artist releases that we've been paying attention to out in the wild, going through a couple clients case studies of some of the work that both Jazz and I have done for our artists / clients, and then reserve some time at the end for a live Q&A. So if you don't have questions as we go throughout, if anything comes to mind, we'll provide some time at the end to answer any last minute questions. And then from there, that is going to be a wrap. Short and sweet. But yeah, welcome, y'all. Thank you for joining. I see some folks coming from YouTube. Let us know if you're here in the comments. Would love to shout y'all out. Thank you so much for joining today. Showing love. And yeah, with that, let's go ahead and just get started with light introductions. I feel like I do this elevator pitch about myself all the time, but for everyone who's new, I know we also have the No Conformity fam tapping in today. My name is Jazz Jackson. I'm the founder and CEO of UNE Unearthly Studios, focusing on empowering artists, creatives, and innovative brands to achieve their full potential through our agency services and offerings. I'm also an artist manager, A&R myself, so I work with two incredible hip hop artists on more on the day-to-day management slash artist development side, and bringing on my first engineer that I'm going to be working with, which is super exciting. So I do feel like I just kind of do a little bit of a lot of things within the music business. But y'all, I've been doing marketing for over a decade now, focused on the brand, experiential, and influencer marketing side. So I've gotten to work with brands from small businesses all the way up to enterprise level clients on different organic social campaigns, events, brand activations, and more. It's been a fun time, and now I am really working with artists and creatives to do the same. So that is a little bit about me. I'll go ahead and pass the mic over to Jazz so she can do a little introduction about herself and share more about No Conformity.
I look just like my picture. Like I'm like, let me get the angle, like the bun and everything. Except I was doing little swoopies, I guess, with my baby hairs that day. Hi guys, I'm Goofy, if you can't tell, and my name is also Jazzmyne. Jazzmyne Bogard is my maiden name, Jazzmyne Young, my married name, Jazzmyne Kiera, my stage name. No, I'm playing. Okay. I have been in the music industry for a really long time. I've started off my entertainment career as a production manager, talent manager on television shows. And then I got poached off the set of a Snoop Dogg game show. I got thrown into the music industry and I never looked back. And it sounds dramatic, but everybody gets their foot in the door in the music industry in a different way. And that's where I got mine. So whenever I am talking about, the branding and the marketing, and when I am giving people advice on promotions and things like that, my experience comes all from my corporate artist management experience. So after that Snoop Dogg game show, I got thrown onto Taylor Gang. And so I was Wiz Khalifa's I was Wiz Khalifa's career long manager. His name is Will Zombak, and I was his executive assistant. But of course, that meant that I also did stuff for Wiz. So I handled his daily calendar and, was on set making peanut butter and jelly with his son and a bunch of fun things. A lot of fun birthday parties for Bash. And then I kind of phased out of that and I went into or I got poached, I guess I would say, and got picked up by XO and by Maverick and all of that good stuff. And that is where I got experience with Doja Cat. And it was just so cool to be the project manager on her team when she crossed over into mainstream. Like, to see that firsthand, such an unexplainable experience, because it's like your head is down, you're doing the work, and then you look up and all of a sudden people are noticing. And so it's like, it's not like you've done anything crazy or different because you've been doing this hard work this whole time, but all of a sudden people are just starting to pay attention. And so what people are focusing now when they talk about music marketing, it's all, how do you cut through the noise? How do you get people to pay attention? But if you had been doing this on the artist side all along, that's something we've always been trying to do because we've always put the artist first. So there's a difference when you're in like the corporate music world working for labels and working for digital streaming platforms where you work for a business, as opposed to me, who all I've ever worked for is the artist. So yeah, I don't know if that was an introduction, but yeah, that's me.
It sure was an introduction. You better talk about yourself. No, thank you once again for joining us today and sharing time and space to chat about this topic, since it is one that, you know, we see the conversations all day. We get the questions because we're in the space. So especially coming towards the end of a year, knowing that 2025 is going to bring a whole new batch of releases from our music community, this is like the perfect time to chat about music rollouts. There was a comment on oh my gosh, I love this. StreamYard's cool, y'all, because I can like add your comments on the screen, but someone said your story is wild. I had no clue. Yo, Jazz has lived many lives.
Yes, and the theme and in all the lives that I live, at the end of the book, you know what it says? I win. I always win. No matter what I do. Because what's for me is mine, and I'm here living my purpose. My signs of confirmation are, you know, all of the success, the client success that I'm able to get, the financial freedom that I've been able to create in 1 year. Like, I know that this is what God created me for. And if I would have stuck to my goals and my plan, which was always just to get 6 figures, work for a major company, you know, blah, 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 then I wouldn't have this, you know? Like, I'm just so happy that I didn't box myself into these rigid goals, and I allowed God to use me the way, you know, the way God, only God could, because I promise you guys, I never saw this for myself. I never saw this for myself. And I really just wanted to work for someone and for someone to make me rich. I promise you. I promise you. I never thought that I was going to have my own company.
Y'all, we haven't gotten to the combo yet, but we could do a whole masterclass just on creative entrepreneurship, which artists are creative entrepreneurs too, but we could really yap about the entrepreneurship life. I resonate with that the exact same way. Got a lot of love coming in from our community. People are excited for this conversation. It's going to be such a fun time. Thank y'all for tuning in, tapping in. I see everyone joining on YouTube. We're also live on LinkedIn, Instagram, the No Conformity social. So we everywhere, okay? Yes, so let's get into the conversation, which is music rollout essentials. So I know I've been getting a lot of questions because I've been putting question boxes in our broadcast channel, IG stories, just asking the folks just around what are some of the common questions that they have around preparing for their next music release, like including like, when should I even start rolling out my music, or how long should my rollout be? What creative assets should I have for my next release? So we're going to spend just a little time going through kind of what we call the music rollout essentials, where we're going to blitz through this, y'all. So if you have a pen and paper, take some notes. The replay will also be available after the event. If we are moving a little too fast through some things and you can't get everything down, no worries, catch the replay. But wanted to go through some gems just around just like the core foundations for success and what y'all should have ready as you guys prepare for new releases. I know we're at the end of the year, so this might be for 2025 at this point, but just some of the things that y'all should know. So I will kind of yap through these. I won't use slides for this part of the presentation. Just want to chat through some of these. And Jazz, please add in any insights, gems, anything you want to add into these sections, because you also we do similar things and I love it. So between the Jazzes squared, this is we're gonna go through this section together. But one of the first things I wanted to touch base on was kind of crafting the foundation for success for your next music rollout release. And I know we talk about rollouts, and a lot of people, they gravitate right towards like the creative, the visuals, the content. I know something that we do with our artists and clients on this side is we always first start with like, what are the goals for the project and what are the goals for the actual release? because success is going to look different for everybody. Success looks different for every single artist that's in the room. I know we have some managers that I see that are tapped in today. So if you're working with artists, a lot of managers are working with more than one artist. No two artists are alike. So the strategies can be a little bit different, even though there's those core best practices. But we always start with like the why and what are our goals. So that can really help shape the way that you build out your campaign as well too. Like if your goal for this specific project, if you're at a point where you're ready to, let's say, work with influencers, or you're going after more of those established brand partnerships, are you setting key goals that align with like, hey, how can we activate X number of influencers through this rollout cycle? Or hey, how can we secure 4 brand partnerships for this release? So your goals should ladder up to your vision for success. So we always start with like, what are our goals? I do work with a lot more emerging artists who are really still cultivating their core fan base, amplifying their music to new listeners, getting new eyes, new ears on their music, their creative. So most of our goals are around things like, general brand awareness and reach, fan engagement. It could be artist discovery via using socials. So always kind of just starting like, what is the goal for this campaign, or what is the goal for this project or this single, is where we always recommend to start out. So for every artist, y'all, as you gear up for your next rollout in the top of the new year, always start with, before you even go to the creative brainstorm, start with a question of, okay, what's my goal for this? Like for this project, and get really clear there. I promise you, it's going to help to navigate the rest of the process when it comes to what features are partnerships, what creative needs to come to life. If my goal is to really, for artist discovery on socials, does my strategy align with creating a bunch of short form assets, or do I want to go hard on more long form videos? So start with goals, y'all. I know we talked about goal setting in a couple master classes ago. They are so important. And goals are really great too, because it gives y'all the foundation of having something to look back on. So if your goal was like, hey, I'm releasing merch for the first time, I want to sell 30 products or 30 items. Let's say you sell 20 or 25 of them. You can look back on your goals and use it as a measuring stick for progress for yourself, and to really help you measure the success of your release. So we always start with that why, what are our goals for this project, and start there. Jazz, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, something adding to the why goals are important is because this shit is a lot of fucking work and it can be unfulfilling. You're not getting paid for this, right? So you need to remind yourself why you're doing this. You need to remind yourself what your last release was like, because if you're not immediately taking off and getting millions and stuff, you're going to feel like, oh, am I doing enough? Is this good enough? Like a really great example, one of my clients, Tetsa, she just went viral over the weekend. And we had a one-on-one call this morning, and we trademarked a word where she was feeling stressor. It's like a mix of stress and pressure because she just went viral. So she wants to capitalize off of the moment and all of these things. And I had to be like, you know what, baby, like, I know that you're here for using me as a consultant, but I'm an artist manager first. And I just have to let you know that you're doing amazing. This video, has 2 million views in 2 days. You just gained over 600 new followers. Like, you have to say these things, because when you just leave it to the artist, all you're thinking about is like, oh my gosh, like everybody in the comments wants a full version of the song now, and I have to get the full version done because they're only going to care about it for so long. So there's so much stressor that comes along where, you just got to have these goals, because it's going to feel like I ain't done shit, and it's like, no, that's really not true. When you look back at where you were before you decided to do this campaign, because everything is not always going to be tied to music. Sometimes you just need a rebranding campaign. Sometimes you ain't talked to your folks in a minute and you need to just reintroduce yourself as a human being, as an artist, because people connect with people, right? So it always comes back to these goals. And I just wanted to put that why in there because sometimes it can feel like homework. And I know myself, I'll skip stuff because I'm like, ain't no point in doing this. Like my time is better spent just doing the work. And it's like, no, 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 no. You can't just do the work without having goals and without, thinking of these things ahead of time because it really does make a difference. It really does.
It really does.
So yeah,
And
stressor, trademark pending.
stressor. Yeah. For real. Write that down, please. Write that down. Someone said very much. It's not always a music campaign or a rollout that's needed. Yeah, exactly. So I said there's like some releases that I've done even this year with my artists where we didn't have like this full fleshed out campaign with the timeline and more of the structure. And the release is it was just different intentions. Like, hey, we just want to give the fans, like a Lucy or another single. And we know that we're using this track, this next release, just to nurture the audience, the fans that, we've been establishing relationships with, and just doubling down
Right.
there. And then we have the much bigger rollouts that have a lot more different elements. So very much true, very much true. Starting with why, setting those goals are so important. The other thing that I wanted to touch base on in this section was just around the story and the narrative for your projects and for your releases, because it's like one of the biggest parts. Like, we spend so much time with our artists. I know I spend so much time with my artists and clients on just the story and the narrative for the release, like hours
Right.
just brainstorming and creating mood boards and getting nitty gritty into, like, hey, like, for example, we'll talk about Geogenesis a little bit later, but for his EP, it was like 5 tracks. Every single track told this different story, and it was a different persona of Geo. So it got really deep. So we really had to like break it down, spend hours, like, what is the story, the narrative behind each track itself, especially for like an EP or LP album project. It's like, what is the story that we're trying to tell? What is the emotion that we want to evoke in our audience when they listen to the music, when they see the visuals that we're bringing to life, and when they come and experience us perform live? It's all these, like, what is the story? What is the feeling? And a lot of artists I know don't take the time to really do that, like, strategy, like creative ideation work. Like, it comes across in the music, in the lyricism of the tracks and the project, but to really spend time honing in on, like, what is the story? Because at the end of the day, you're still marketing this project to your fan and consumers, and you want to know clearly, like, what do we want them to connect to? So I know really honing in on your story and the narrative for the project is an essential part of your release before you start creating the content. Like, how do you know what the content or the creative you want to bring to life, or how you want the music videos to be shaped if you don't even understand or have more clarity on the stories that you want to tell? And Jazz, like, we talk about storytelling with the work that we do. I'm sure you have some more magic to add to this part.
No, yeah, I think that what a lot of music artists don't hear enough is the why. So all my my whole career has been telling music artists why they should do what's best for themselves. So so I'm really good at explaining the why. So when we look at storytelling, why do we need a story? Why is it that deep? Da da da. Because marketing is storytelling, guys. So marketing is us telling a story in a bunch of different visual aspects. So if you don't know what story you're telling, that's probably why you don't know what content to post. You don't know how to show up consistently and build an online presence. And if you don't know how to show up consistently, if you don't know how to build an online presence, then you're not able to have the discovery boost that you're looking for, which is going to help. I always like to call it like a fan discovery funnel because I work in sales. And so you have a sales funnel in sales. And with music artists, whether you know it or not, baby, y'all are entrepreneurs. Okay. So y'all are trying to convert people too, but you're just trying to convert them from like random viewers and strangers on the internet to supporters of your music. And so with the storytelling, you bring them in with your discovery, and then once they're on your page, once they discover you from whatever goes viral, or, you know, just your hard work of consistently posting content, then that's when they follow you and they are on your journey. They're like a part of your stuff. Then they become a listener. They go outside of the app that they found you on, and they are listening to your music, and then they become a supporter where you have some merch, you have some tickets, you have something, or even if they just need to show up in person to an event that you're having, they become a supporter. And so, yeah, saying all of that to say that if you do not have a story, if you do not have a why, you are going to have a very hard time being consistent and promoting your music, your project, or yourself. So, yeah, that's just my little 2 cents.
Gems. Gems. No, the story really does matter. And it can be such a fun time too to just like spend some time, go to a coffee shop. If the weather's nice, sit at a park and just really journal, write this out. We do mood boards and vision boarding over here at our agency a lot too with our clients, where we'll just have them make a Pinterest board. Like, let's visually represent this story, and then we can craft the words and the narrative. But what do you envision it first to be? So, you know, such a core part of planning your release is like understanding the why, the story you're trying to tell. And the other question that we got was around creative assets. So there's a lot of conversation on social all the time around like, are music videos dead? Are they worth the investment? What are the visual, creative assets I should be investing my marketing dollars into? I know a lot of our clients, they are working with very limited budgets for their releases. Other artists are also, of course, investing into equipment and gear, studio time if they're not self-recording. So there are a lot of, pieces to this where budget is one of those things that's very top of mind, and how can I stretch my budget the best. So I wanted to drop some gems just around what creative assets should you have for your release. And y'all, if you have any other questions that are coming to mind as we're talking, be sure to drop a comment on the streaming platform, on the platform that you're watching the stream from, so we can make sure we answer. But so for some of the creative assets I know we get asked about a lot is just the difference between, hey, should they invest? What sorts of creative assets should they invest in? So for all of our artists, we do know that we are in kind of like this TikTok has come, y'all, and it changed just the landscape of social for forevermore. I feel like we're just in that phase where short form vertical video, that is like these bite-sized ways where artists, creatives, brands were leaning in on, whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on Reels. They got Facebook Reels now, YouTube Shorts. They're all these different components of the platform where short form creative really does live. And I know we talk to our artists a lot about, okay, shooting for short form versus shooting horizontal for long form. Should they invest their budget into a long form video that might cost them $3,000 for a music video? Are they better off spending that money to, hey, if I have this 3,000, can I work with a videographer to produce 10, TikToks or Reels for me for X amount of money? So budget is one of those things I know that we talk about a lot with our artists. And as we're building out our campaigns, is being very cognizant of what are their available resources. Y'all, for music rollout essentials, I always tell people, start with what you have. If you don't have the budget to spend four figures on your marketing assets, a lot of us have phones, great iPhones. I know I have an iPhone 11. So if your iPhone is newer than mine, trust me, you can capture some really great visuals with it. But use the resources and tools that you have at your disposal. There are entire documentaries, movies, music videos that are just shot on like iPhones. And it's so cool to see what technology we have just like right at our fingertips. So if budget is one of those concerns, I always say start with the resources you have. You can also rent equipment if that's something you need to do. But no, I always say use the resources at your disposal. And I know something that we typically have been focusing on this year with our artists and clients is doubling down on short form creative, and creating just a series of different visualizers. So some of them might be a minute 30, others might just be those 30 to 60 seconds. And then because we know the story and the narratives for the single or the tracks, then we can think about like, okay, so for this single, we're talking about XYZ. Where could we shoot some really cool visualizers outside, out in nature, out and about in the city that can still capture the story, the essence of the emotion that we want to portray? Whether it's like, oh, this song kind of fits a late night drive mood. Well, let's go shoot some visualizers doing that, cruising, riding around late at night. So when Jazz and I were talking about the story does matter, it lends to the creative that you create as well too. But different assets will include things like those short form visuals, of course, that we all know, we love, we see on TikTok, we see them on Instagram. Sometimes people will just be like in their car singing. So the rise of short form video is definitely there. But I also think bringing up like, hey, are music videos worth it in 2024? I know, Jazz, I want your opinion on this too. I feel like the answer is definitely yes. But I say yes with, but you don't have to spend a lot of money in the budget to create a really phenomenal music visual. Like you can do a lot with a little bit if you have a lot of creativity and if you just use the resources you have around you, which includes like asking friends and family, like, hey, well, my friend's dad owns this coffee shop. Hey, can I ask them if we can shoot a part of the music video there? So there's so many ways where y'all can get really creative for your music rollouts and releases. But on short form video, Jazz, was there anything you wanted to add? Like, what are your feelings and opinions on music videos in 2024? Are they worth the investment? Or what are some of the things that you've done with either music videos or short form?
Yeah. So in 2024, when we're thinking about music videos and are they worth it, it's really not a simple yes or no answer. It really depends on where you're at in your journey as an artist. It also depends on things like you said, such as budget. In my opinion, if you are still in the discovery phase, that music video is for you. You have to think about, who am I making this for? Am I making this video because I want a video, because I have a vision in my head, and because I want to see it? Because we forget music is art, and so is video, because music is the only art form that does not have a visual attached to it aside from poetry, so it is only, and even with poetry you have to see that performed, so it is something that is only auditory. So to create an experience, a lot of artists feel that they want to create a music video. I feel that. And I will never say that you shouldn't do it, but I just want you to know that that is for you. Now, if you are saying that you want to build a fan base, you want to be discovered, you want to grow your audience, and you want to have a monetizable career for yourself, I am not going to tell you to spend $3,000, $5,000, however many $1,000 on a music video. I am going to tell you that you need to create as much short form content as possible. It does not have to be polished. It can literally just be you in different locations in your city singing your song. And it is about people hearing your song multiple times and being able to have as many chances as possible to discover you. And so if you are making a music video, that is a 3-minute song. It can only be chopped up into so many clips. You only have so many assets. There's only so many parts of the video that are exciting that you would actually want to see. So if your goals are discovery, a music video is not a discovery tool. A music video is a creative expression that, artists want to do, and I get it if you want to do it for yourself. But if your goals are
Yeah.
to have people discover your music, then you need to be posting short form content. You need to be posting content that is related to your story and to the goals that we set at the beginning of this campaign, so that it can get you the intended results that you want.
1000%. Y'all, Gems. So yeah, use the tools that y'all have at your disposal. Doubling down on short form are some of what we've been focusing on for the past couple of years, I feel like. But we're seeing it everywhere for a reason, and each little bite-sized video you share is increasing your chances of someone new seeing it every single time you post. So I love that. If you have any other questions about music rollout essentials, creative assets you should have, anything like that, let us know. We'll have some time towards the end for a Q&A to kind of go back. Wanted to chat about fan engagement in 2024 as well too. I know, especially as we are talking about socials being the number one tool for artist discovery today, and knowing Jazz and I both work in marketing and social, it is our livelihood. It feels like, we live and breathe in the social space. Social platforms favor engagement. And when it comes to fan engagement in 2024, we all know that artists, creatives, entrepreneurs like ourselves, we are using these social platforms as a way to connect with our ideal audiences, our ideal fans, our people, our tribe, those that we want to be in community with. For artists, that's the fans that you want to reach and connect with and build and include and build within your fan base over time. So I feel fan engagement in 2024 is such a timely topic for us to talk about. And Jazz, I know you have a lot of insights and thoughts on where we stand in 2024 with fan engagement. One thing that I feel like I've been like this broken record saying is like, community is everything. Community is everything. Community is everything. And I feel like a broken record. Community has become such a buzzword now. Our super fans, that's another one within kind of music marketing world. But it is really everything. Like, the community that you cultivate around you is the key to your success. So we know like about the power of 1,000 fans theory. A lot of us have heard about it. It really kind of just breaks down and speaks to really cultivating relationships and deepening those connections with your core supporters. And followers are not fans. That's something I know I kind of educate my artists and my clients on all the time. Is that's great that you have 10,000 followers on your Instagram, but that doesn't mean you have 10,000 fans. Like, from that 10,000 people on your Instagram, maybe 20% of them are really tapped into your music, your product, the world that you're building with your art. So it takes time to build those relationships. So I feel like fan engagement in 2024 is so important and so timely to talk about. Also with social, sometimes there's too much access that fans have to artists, so it seems, which is another conversation. But really using socials as a way to connect with your people is something that I know I harp about a lot, Jazz, like with my clients. Like, hey, are you just posting on social, or did you spend time like responding to your comments in a thoughtful way versus just dropping in a fire emoji? Did you say like, oh, what about this post resonated with you? Or ask them another question to keep the engagement going? Or if you have the same people in your inbox or liking your stories, go a step further, ask them a question, talk to them. If someone sends something really cool about your music via DM, that is your chance to cultivate that connection with a follower. And just by you responding one time, like, people are so blown away by it because a lot of people do not respond, that you can just create a fan for life just by showing them a little care and intention. So wanted to spend a few minutes chatting about fan engagement, Jazz. Like, what are your thoughts about fan engagement in 2024? And, how important do you feel like it is, especially working with independent artists and creatives on your side as well?
Yeah. So Asia, she dropped a really great comment. She said, sometimes spreading your story across the different platforms is hard. And I feel that 100%, because what works on these different platforms is different types of content. So, figuring out how to show up on all of these different platforms and use them to your advantage, it is really hard. It's really hard. So you have to start with what you're comfortable with, where you have like your biggest following already. Most of us have our biggest following on Instagram because it's the app that's been out the longest, that majority of us have used the most. But that's also hard as well because a lot of people on your Instagram are your friends and family, and they don't see you as a music artist. So they're not converting into people who are streaming and listening to your music. They are not helping you be discovered. And so that's why it's really important to include TikTok into your content plan and make that a primary focus if you are in the discovery fan building phase of your career, which, let's face it, every fucking artist is. It doesn't matter how many people are listening to your music, you are always trying to be discovered. You are all, and so that's why TikTok is so important. It never stops. You know, the work, the bigger your fan base gets, the more work it is. Just so you guys know, it does not get easier the more people who listen to your music or the more money that you make. It actually just becomes harder, more time consuming, because this is a fucking job. Being a music artist is not a whimsical, oh, hobby, maybe I can make some money off of it. No, this is a real job. So being able to spread your story across platforms, you have to figure out what works for you. So a really great example, one of my clients, Jalea, she is more of a long form content girly. So she started doing like these weekly vlogs on YouTube where she only had to post one video a week. And it wasn't as intense with the editing and different things like that. Granted, I made her a whole content plan, and she was posting what she could when she could. I'm gonna always make you a full strategy. What you're able to do from it, that's gonna be the results that you get.
Yep.
Because when you start posting it for real, like I've had clients get results 24 hours within 2 weeks, all of that. So it's really just like, you know, I'm gonna lead a horse to water. I can't make you drink. Same thing. I can't make you make the content. I can't make you post the content. But I can provide it for you. And so it was really just about building that muscle. And so when she built her confidence in doing those vlogs on YouTube, there, you know, she was recording more content, so she had more content to pull from. Randomly posts, you know, this video of her grandma eating a hamburger, goes viral. You know, and then for me, that was like the light bulb for her EP. She didn't have a name for her EP. She was being unconventional. She was releasing an EP full of live songs before she released the studio versions, all of that. And so I was watching it and I'm like, where'd you make this? Oh, we recorded this in my grandma's living room. And I'm like, boom, live from your grandma's living room. That's the that's the title of the EP. We started doing content with her grandma because her grandma is a 96-year-old like deaconess in the church, like, you know, and she's very like cognitive. She's not old at all. She's like, people tell me I look 75 all the time. I said, I know that's right, grandma. You know, and so it's like, that's our grandma now, you know. So she posted content with her grandma performing a poem that was a part of the EP, and, you know, just singing a song. And that's what resonated with a lot of people. That's what built her discovery. And what made people follow her was all of the work that we had been doing in between that, all of the content that we had been posting that is storytelling, that is engaging, the series that they created, you know, that weekly vlog series. Now people have a frame of reference, but, you know, because that series is called From Broke to Famous. So you saw her when she literally had 0 followers on TikTok, started this page fresh with me in July, to the, you know, over 6,000 people that she has now, hundreds of thousands of views, all of that. So I feel I don't, you know what I'm saying? It's about figuring it out. It's about trying something, and it's about doing the work until the work starts working. But a lot of music artists, they get so in their heads about it being perfect that they don't even start doing the work. So they have nothing to learn from. They have nothing, you know, to create off of, because there's also a huge fear of perception as well. A fear of being seen as a MySpace artist, a YouTube rapper, or whatever, and not a serious artist that they want themselves to be. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. That's all I can say.
Like she said, my twin dropped the first F-bomb. I'm surprised I didn't do it first, honestly, y'all. But for real, Fuck all of that.
I fuck all that every time.
And there's something that you mentioned too that I wanted to just like hone in on a little bit deeper. And you were talking about you got to just try stuff. So much of what like the music rollout is just marketing, it's strategy, but it's also a lot of experimentation and just trying things. You will never know what resonates with your fans if you're not willing to just like basketball, y'all. Just shoot the shots. You're not going to make every single layup, whatever the terminology is. Don't be laughing at me. I don't watch basketball. But you just got to keep shooting those shots. And it's so crazy because it's going to be those ideas that you just kind of, oh, let's just try it, that can turn into something like a signature series that you continue to do. Or it'll be the piece of creative you just like, you know what, it's not perfect, I'm just going to post it. And that's the piece of creative that takes off. The one that goes viral. It's the freaking one that everyone's commenting on. But that perfectionism, I resonate with that even as an entrepreneur, bringing events to life. It's like, yo, that perfectionism is really rooted in failure. And there's really no failure if you don't quit. So if a piece of content that you post doesn't perform well, it doesn't take off, that's not a sign to just not do it. It's usually a sign of like, let me try it again. Let me revise it and reimagine it and do it a different way. But it takes some time for things to take off.
A lot of you music artists.
Yep, go ahead, Jeff.
And a lot of you music artists, like your imposter syndrome is really your biggest op. Like y'all are getting in your own way, and your fear of perception, your fear of what you think people are going to say about you and all of that. It's so hard. It's so hard. It's hard to get over that fear. But at the end of the day, you guys, if you're not trying something, if you and it's like Simply Cleva said, is that it's really, trial by fire. That is not the right use of trial by fire, bitch. trial by fire. It's more of a trial and error process, but
like a fire
trial by fire means that you're going through a trial and you have to get burned to go through it. I mean, maybe we can make that work for this too. But it is throwing things out there, seeing what resonates and seeing what connects with your audience, because you're so in your head thinking about what you like, what you want, what people might want from you. And when you start just releasing things, and now I am not saying to release boo-boo content. Let's not get it twisted, because the quality still matters. But what counts as quality? It's not about having the 4K camera, the graphic designer, all of that. It's about having content that is conveying the message that you want your music to convey, that is conveying the brand that you want your music to convey, the personality that you want your music to convey. When people come to your website, your TikTok, your whatever, what's the impression that they're getting from you? That's what we're trying to do in this content. And so they can't make an impression if all you're doing is out now clips and go stream my music. I ain't got shit to connect with. I ain't got no reason to follow you, because it feels like all you want from me is for me to fucking stream your, like, I don't, nobody wants to be sold to. Nobody wants to be sold to. So yeah, I don't even know where we were going from this, but my ADHD ass mind just went on a mind map, and I felt like you guys had to hear that.
I was about to say, nah, you're saying what the people really need to hear. And so many gems, like for real. Jazz and I could talk about this all day, like all freaking day. But like I said, like you mentioned too with your clients, it's now, I'm sure, especially since she's continued this series, she has all these other new people following her, tapping in, joining in, getting to see this series that she's bringing to life, like from broke to famous. But if y'all would have never just tested it, tried it out, kept it going, it takes some time, y'all. But it's like when your audience and your supporters, it's something that we've been including in strategies, is like, how can our clients and artists create their own signature series for this reason? Because it gives your audience and supporters something to know they can come back to. Like, oh, I know every single Friday he's going to share a freestyle. Or, oh, I know she comes out with a new vlog every single week, and this is what the content's always about. So yeah, we could go on that tangent, but fan engagement for sure in 2024 is so important. And also too, we'll talk about music rollout strategies as we get into this next section. Wanted to chat through some case studies from both Jazz and I, because we have worked with a bunch of different artists and creatives on our side.
Wait, Jazz, there's some really good comments from the YouTube comments. Yeah,
I was just about to pull those up before we go on.
Okay, perfect. I was like, I don't want them to leave. Like, I want to answer their questions. So, okay,
No,
great.
I was just about to pull those up. Y'all, thank you for all of the participation today, asking so many questions, comments, feedback. We love it. I'm gonna pull some up on the screen and we can kind of just chat through some. Y'all are dropping these in real quick. We're also live on Instagram too. So Jazz, be sure you check your IG live and see if there's anything else that's pulling in. So we can answer those throughout as well too. And it's easy to miss Instagram, y'all. But yeah, in the manager scene as trial and error, y'all. I could see that. I really can see that. Perspective always is a big thing. And it's like your art and your music is also so personal. So every piece, like we put so much of ourselves into what we do. Even for Jazz and I, we create our own content for our own agencies. And in that sense of creating for the agency, I do feel like I'm in trial by fire, like all the time. I just wanted to comment on this. Like, I can definitely see it is a matter of POV, but it's just like I'm just gonna keep putting myself into the fire, and I'm gonna win. So that's kind of like I just wanted to like touch base on this comment. Like, also shout out Nikki, thank you for being here. I love all your feedback, and the love in the comments section. There's also this one that came up around short form content via TikTok or any platform. Do you recommend starting with a fresh new account? Does an account's age and posting history affect the amount of potential viewers? Jazz, you want to take this one? I know you've really helped some artists build from ground up too, especially on platforms like TikTok. So you want to take this one first?
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yes, bro. Like TikTok is the fastest growing platform. Don't be scared of those followers. It's not the same as Instagram where it's like, you didn't have this account for 10 years. Like, I done built up 50,000 followers. Like, I'm not about to abandon this. That's different because that's actually like Instagram is community, Facebook is community, TikTok is discovery. YouTube is discovery. YouTube is discovery in a different way. YouTube is discovery with long form content. So if you've noticed why TikTok don't give a fuck about Instagram. TikTok ain't competing with Instagram. Instagram trying to get like TikTok. TikTok is competing with YouTube, right? TikTok is taking things from YouTube, trying to do long form content, trying to do that because people stay in YouTube longer. And the way that you find content in YouTube is by recommendations. It's by viewer behavior. It is learning you as a person based off of your YouTube history, and it is suggesting things that you'll like. So when you are thinking about a platform like TikTok and you want to upload short form content to TikTok, if you started an account, this app ain't been out for longer than like 4 years. So don't be married to it. And like I said, I had a client who started with 0 followers in July and she has over 6,000 now. All it takes is one fucking video. All it takes is you consistently doing the work and consistently posting the content, consistently talking about your story, your messaging, your music in a way where you're figuring out what's the best way to do it. So if you have an established audience and they come to your TikTok for tips on sports betting, and all of a sudden you want to start promoting music, start a new page. Start a new page. Because your audience is there for your sports bet tips. I don't give a fuck about your music. I don't give a fuck. Like, and that's the thing is that if you have not created a TikTok that is people love you for you, like you're the brand, your people just like you, then you're gonna have to start over. But if your TikTok is like people are there for you, they like your fashion tips, they like your hair tips, like people like you, cool, they're a fan of you. So that means that your music is a new part and extension of the brand that you have already created. You know, you've already started a fan base for yourself. So you don't have to get rid of that account. We're just
Right.
going to start rebranding that account, and we're going to change the story that you're telling on that account. So yeah, so the answer really is that it's subjective based on the account, based on what you've been doing with that account and what your fan base is there for, whether you should or should not start from fresh, delete the account and start over when it comes to TikTok. But I
Yeah.
think TikTok is the only one that really matters in that way, and the reason why is because it's a discovery platform. You can grow a following really quickly, but they are building the discovery based on an algorithm, and if people did not come there for music, you can't just start posting music and expect your content to be pushed out the way that the other content that you create is. So that was a really long answer. Sorry. I hope that you got that, Rat Boy Radar. That was a really good question.
I was just
You
about to
ate my
say,
question the fuck up. Hey!
this is what we're
Period.
here for, y'all.
I know that's right. Thank
This
you.
is what we're here for. We're weaving our Q&A in.
What's going on
To
with session? What's up?
I was like, yeah, please tap in with Jazz. She got more gems for y'all. Thank you all for asking questions. We're kind of weaving our Q&A into as we go. So as we are quickly approaching our time. So we're going to move into a couple case studies that Jazz and I have worked on this year with our clients. So let me just go ahead and share this screen real fast. I wanted to chat through just to give y'all a little bit more visual of examples of how a release can come to life. This is one that I have been working on with my friend / client Geogenesis. He's an R&B artist based out of New York City. We released his first EP in over 4 years this summer called Second Nature. And y'all, as I was mentioning earlier about taking hours to really map out the story, the narratives, what the whys, he is such a shining example of someone who took the strategy and executed on it beautifully. So we spent hours really building out the foundation for this EP's success. So really crafting out the stories. As I mentioned, this was the EP. Well, every track, it was a different persona or Geo. So there was like this lover boy Geo. There was this Geo in his healing and heartbreak phase. So every track did tell a different story. So we wanted to make sure that we mapped out like all of these different elements. So what we've had Geo do, actually had him film everything at one time. So he spent 4 days shooting visualizers for 5 tracks. And came up with different personas and characters. As y'all can see on the screen, he has angel wings on his back. That was one of the personas for one of the tracks as well too. We talked through everything from capturing the behind the scenes to what is going to be the fan engagement strategies for this release? How are we going to activate the fans in real life? So we not only captured all the creative visuals that we told y'all about, he did short form, a lot of short form visuals for every track, plus long form. And then we also had BTS album poems. So we really went kind of crazy on this release. And we also supported it with
As
kind of, we went crazy. We also supported it with how do you bridge the gap between digital and in real life? So how can we get fans, especially him being in a major music hub like New York City, how can we bring fans together? So we planned like an incredible activation at the Audio Max Studios in New York so he could have this fan listening experience where we brought the collaborators together, the producers of the projects, Geo's friends, fans, everyone together to listen to the project. Geo talked about every track. And then we also laddered up this rollout with kind of those collaboration pieces, including press, of course, performances, different shows that we mapped out as well for the release. So some of the results of this campaign, we're working on the case study, but we were able to really garner different playlist support with this. As you can see, He had some really cool collaborations with like R&B only, so he got to do like some special spotlight series. And then on the right hand side, these are a couple of the visuals that we actually created from the story that we mapped out. So as I mentioned, every single track had a different story that we told. So Gio took the characters that he brought to life, and we created these backdrops out in nature, taking a bed outside, showing just the different personas that each character brought to life. And we
I like
shot this.
wings are like a different, like, are they made of leaves or like ivy?
It's
Like
like
those
ivy,
wings?
like the faux ivy leaves, and then the wings were cut out.
Yeah, so
Um,
cool.
so this is
Come
one.
on, playlist cover, indie R&B. Shout
Let's
out to
go.
Yancy.
This was such a fun release, y'all. And then the angel Geo is at the bottom, where first the visual second nature, where you guys can see him in his element with his angel wings on. So each track had its own story. So if we didn't spend the time like actually mapping out the story, none of the creative would have come to life in the way that it did. We did really start with that why, the storytelling, and then making sure that because this was a release where we wanted to amplify it for months, he's actually dropping a new visual tomorrow, new music tomorrow, but we're still in this rollout. So we started this back in July. It's almost December, but because we set up the strategy to have visuals for every single track, the BTS, the album poems, we've been able to extend this amplification of his release to months after. But if we hadn't done all that beginning work, then this wouldn't have came to life so flawlessly for this project release. So that's just one example of what we worked on with Geo. Yes, the second nature visual is one of my favorites too. I still watch it like once a day on my big screen. So wanted to show y'all just a couple of examples that we worked on at the UNE side this year, and then wanted to pass the mic over to Jazz to go through a little bit of her work that she did with Ayana.
Oh my gosh, first off, this is so cute. I love that you put this together for us. So, I was working with Kayana. I was working with Ayana for 10 months, and in the beginning of the year, we released 2 singles this year, which has amassed her over 1 million streams on multiple platforms, as well as views and different things as well. So it's really great when the work is working. With me, she came to me last October, a week before her debut EP was going to come out. And mind you, me and her had lunch over the summer. Like, there had been, talks. Uh-oh, I don't know what happened to Jazz. Hopefully you guys can
keep going.
Oh, oh, you just made me the only viewer. Okay. I got scared. I was like, oh shit. Anyways. So yeah, so we had conversations over the summer. I had seen her live earlier in March. So this was like months of us building a relationship and everything. And then yeah, in October, it was just a week before her EP was going to come out. And she was just like, I don't have a marketing plan. I don't know what I'm doing after this EP comes out. Can you help me? And so I just I just hate to see clients, in a position like that where they've been let down, where you have a distributor, you have a label, you have all of these people who are supposed to be helping you, and they're failing you. And so I was like, you know what? You have all of these systems in play. Let me help you out. And yeah, we just kind of went into the basics of, who do you make music for? Who are you compared to, sonically, visually, who, like, what comes across. And this whole project was about a real breakup that she had went through. And so I was like, if you're making music for girls, why are you like wearing thongs and stuff? Because there's nothing wrong with being sexy, mind you. Girls, we like to see other girls being sexy too. But when we like to see women being sexy, we like to see, like, you can see the silhouette of her body. We like to see different things where it's like, oh girl, you worked for that. I know that's right. You better eat that up. Oh, body tea. Like, so the kind of sexy that you post when you want to be a girl's girl, as opposed to the kind of sexy that's just like low hanging fruit, like you got some lingerie from Fredericks. It's going to be different. So we focused on branding her as a girl's girl who is making, content for the girlies that resonates. And so her sonic like identity is also, she has a very angelic voice, and so I was like, let's bring that to life with the visuals. Everybody says you got an angel voice with with the, let's have the visuals to match, the angel face to go with it. And so we gave them that imagery, and people ate it up. This project that is playing, this is a partnership that we did with Austin. And it was something that artists are really afraid to do, is to reach out to people. She DM'd Austin. That's how we got this feature. And he was happy to do it because a lot of people don't ask him to be features on songs. Mind you, Austin has millions of monthly streamers on Spotify. He has millions of followers on TikTok, but he just felt honored that Ayana wanted him on this song. And so
Love
when
it.
yeah, and it's like when he shared it with his team is fully independent. They have a studio in Los Angeles, and they were also like, if we need funding, we want to give this song the best chance it has. They were able to help us get on IndieFi. If you guys don't know about IndieFi, it's a platform for independent artists. Everyone who applies does not necessarily, get in. So it's nice to have someone on the inside who can make sure that you're in there, who can make sure that you're set up so that you actually can get investments. So we were able to get an investor, fly her out here, do all of this content for free. That release that you guys see with Major Stage also flew us to New York. We were able to do all of that content for free. So it's all about being resourceful, because again, when she came to me, she was with a label and she had distribution, and they were not helping her. And so it was like, all right, well, if you're not helping, no percentages for you guys. Let's do this 100% independent on our own. Here for both of the clients being on the cover of Pandora's Indie R&B playlist. I know that's fucking right? Come on, Jazz Squared, Team Jazz Squared.
Yes.
Let's go. I'm doing it for our clients.
We make the
You
magic happen.
we're here for it as well. IndieFi. I believe that is how you spell it, IndieFi, but it's like .io. It's not like .com. Let me see. INDIFY.io. INDIFY.io. And that is a place where music artists can put their unreleased music with their branding, with their mood boards, their visuals, their all of those documents in there as a pitch. They can say how much money they are requesting, and investors can decide if they would like to either give you what you've requested or say, hey, we'll give you $5,000. We're not going to give you the full 15, but if you're able to reach 1 million streams in 90 days, we'll re-up on the investment to continue to put momentum behind this, all of that. So, and honestly, y'all, I think that like major labels have tried to get on IndieFi, and IndieFi said, no, you're a fucking major label. Like, you don't need our help to connect with artists. What are you talking about? But major labels are looking to do this too. It's a safe way to make small investments, and not go broke and all of that. So that is proof that the independent business model is working, and that now is a better time than ever to be an independent artist, because it's working so well that major labels are like, well, how do we get in on this? Like, how can we do whatever is working for y'all? So get your homework, you guys.
Yes. No, shout out to all the work that you put in for that release, because I remember messaging you about it when y'all were first bringing the collaboration to life, and then to see the magic that happened and everything roll out and release, so phenomenal. And y'all, for real, Jazz hit on some gems just about being resourceful, because I feel like with everything that we've done for my artists and clients, it's all been through relationships, through just asking a question, sending DMs like, hey, we're working on this. Is there any opportunity for us here? Artists to artists, like y'all reaching out to other artists you want to collaborate with, like do more of that. You just never know what you're going to be able to bring together, but you got to like bet on yourself and you got to be willing to take those risks. So y'all, we have been yapping and we're coming up on time. So before we roll on out of here, I want to go through a couple different release strategies that Jazz and I have seen in the wild this year. We might not be able to get to all of the examples that we included, but if anyone is interested in this presentation deck, you can just send me a DM on the UNE socials and I'll just send it to you. Because we had a lot of great examples and I want to make sure that we talk about Tyler the Creator's rollout, since this is one that it's still happening, just happened, just released. Jazz, my twin, she put out this incredible rollout breakdown of this project. Y'all are gonna have to check that out on the No Conformity YouTube channel. But wanted to touch base on Tyler's, because this project was so highly anticipated. People have been waiting for him to drop for a long time. And the way he seeded this music release with the world tour announcement, with his own festival that was already going to be happening, I feel like this rollout was just incredible. So Jazz, I know you had a lot of gems and insights on this. You want to just share a few of your favorite like takeaways from Tyler's release, or something that like he did differently that you're like, more artists should be doing this, trying this, or what have you been loving about this project specifically?
Yeah. What I really love about this project specifically, like she said, I have a whole rollout review video. If you guys want to check it out on my YouTube, where I go into his actual rollout strategies and techniques. But, you know, my company is called No Conformity. And I love the way that Tyler refused to conform with this rollout and with this release. He teased it, 2 weeks before. He had been telling you guys all year, like, you ain't getting no fucking album. Like, everybody had just accepted we ain't getting no fucking album. Like, he had been on this, 10-year run where every 2 years he was releasing an album in the summer. And I think that he was doing that for certain reasons when it comes to Grammy timing, when it comes to, just his core fan base, their demographic, them being able to see it. And he decided to go against all of the industry standards, what you're supposed to do. He did not conform. He, only announced this 12 days before it was about to be released. And he was releasing it just like constantly hitting us with every fucking day. It was something new. Like at first it was like, wait, okay, we just got the crossword for the Camp Flognall. First off, that's engaging. Like you had to figure it out yourself. That's like, so like what a engaging piece of content that he doesn't need to do, because you're Tyler the Creator. Like you don't need to do these things. You have an established fan base, but obviously you have bigger heights that you want to go to. So he's doing stuff that he didn't normally do to reach to people he doesn't normally reach, and it worked. He also releasing the visuals that he released, doing a album release on a Monday instead of a Friday. That's going against the traditional release schedule that is really only for metrics. It's only for numbers. It's because the reason why everybody releases on Fridays is because you have the most chance of possible of getting the most numbers of possible for Billboard. So you have from Friday to Thursday for your first week numbers to count for the Billboard charts. If you're releasing on Fridays, you're an independent artist and you don't know why, stop. Please release on another day. Like release on like there's no reason to be releasing on a Friday. That's the only reason to release on Fridays. Stop doing what major artists are doing. There's no reason for you to. So he released on a Monday. And the reason why he released on a Monday is because he's like, I don't want a bunch of you guys listening to this at midnight and not hearing what the fuck I have to say. I want you guys to be paying attention when you're listening to my project. And when he released the project, we discovered why. His whole fucking career has been, fuck my dad, he abandoned me, he's never here, da, da, da. And in this album, his mother was like, don't blame your dad. He's actually a really good person. I actually kept you from your dad. He wanted to be a part of your life. He always wanted to be a part of your life, and I kept him away from you. So it's like, and that is like profound growth, bro. Like that has been such a defining thing for Tyler and his entire career is him talking shit about his dad. We're like Wolf, what is it? No Name and Wolf. Like, there's just so many songs. So that, like, there's a reason why he wanted you guys to pay attention and to listen to what he had to say.
Yep.
Him announcing that he's going on tour, like, has your attention. Like, he's just going through all of the things. This is what happens when artists plan ahead of time, when they have their branding together, all of the fonts, all of the colors, all of the imagery, his partnership with Converse. After he released, he didn't just release the music. He went on a fucking tour with all of these truck crates and these trailers performing on roofs of Converse because he has a brand partnership with Converse, like, which he
Yep.
has had for forever. So it's just using all of your different elements. And like I said, he did not just release this for Tyler the Creator fans. He definitely released this for people who don't know him, to
Yep.
make a splash, to do something different than what he has done and what gets him the guaranteed result. And so he really chose not to conform, and it paid off. He has, this historic groundbreaking album that's doing numbers that other rap artists haven't done, and he wasn't even in it for the numbers, but the numbers came through anyways. Because at the end of the day, when you have a creative vision, when you bet on yourself, and when you do the work until the work starts working,
Oof. Powerful.
that's it. Yeah.
Doing the right work works. Now we had to like talk a little bit about Tyler the Creator. Obviously, he took over all of our socials. And all I saw was Tyler the Creator everywhere. So just obviously an artist whose project was so highly anticipated, but also an artist who has just really super served his freaking fans and really has engaged with them in such a crazy dynamic way. So, y'all, we are coming up on time, so we are going to start wrapping this up. The last thing that I wanted to just chat through with you, Jazz, really quickly was around, let me see, where is the presentation? There it goes. A couple of minutes on these two artists, because I know we have talked about kind of creating viral / memorable moments. When things go viral, that's so freaking great. And every piece of content that y'all create for your rollouts and your releases, even if that's not the one piece of creative that takes off and goes viral, I say / memorable, because there's so many ways that every single artist, no matter who you are, can create memorable moments for your supporters and your fans. So these are two artists who came out the gate doing some really fun things over the course of this entire year. These are two releases that I'm sure everyone in this room catching the replay has seen or caught glimpses of because they've been everywhere. But Charlie XCX is just one I wanted to quickly put on here because I couldn't get away from her music this summer. And I'm not even like the biggest core Charlie XCX fan, but just the way her and her team created this momentum, and not only did it across social and digital, but this is just like one of those perfect examples of how did they take what they're doing on social and also activate the fans in real life, in person. So that even included like her boiler room sets. She did the lot radio. She posted an address on Twitter saying, hey, if you're in New York, pull up to this address. She, performed and listened to the music with thousands of, like hundreds of fans in the streets, creating essentially her own street team to come out for her. And even just the insertion of how other brands got involved with this kind of pop cultural phenomenon with this release. Duolingo, I love Duolingo. I'm learning my Spanish through them. They were like, oh, her green is our green for our mascot. How can we insert ourselves into this brat phenomenon that's being created? So they sent duo bird mascots to the front row of the concert. And you can see them in the picture all hanging out. They had the mascot in like a shirt that said brat, creating content for social. So it was just like one of those rollouts that I noticed this year that the momentum just kept building, and her team, like, they ate it up. So that's just one that I wanted to bring up for y'all. And then Tinashe was the last one we wanted to touch on before we wrap and let y'all go. But my good sis Jazz also has another rollout review on Tinashe's album breakdown. But Tinashe, obviously, Nasty, that track was everywhere, still is everywhere. I saw all the TikTok content, the dance challenges. Jazz, what are some of your favorite moments from like Tinashe's rollout that were inspiring, or you feel like other emerging artists can kind of, reimagine in their own way?
I really love the fact that Quantum Baby is a part of a series, and came after her project, BB Angel. And because for me, again, when you're a music artist, you're just doing the work. You're just doing the work. You're doing the work. You're doing the work. And then you look up and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, people noticed, you know? So I definitely feel like that was what Tinashe was going through post 2019 split from RCA. She is like, okay, I don't have to go through the rules and regulations with this label holding me back, telling me the album's not ready or good enough or any of that. I can bet on myself. I can bet on my vision. And she did that. And she stayed down and it worked. And so when it comes to marketing, when it comes to timing, if she had not released, BB Angel and those things, maybe she wouldn't have gotten the Coachella spot that she got. And then when she decided to release Nasty, she released that her first week of Coachella. So it's everything cohesively going together. And so it continues to tell a story of doing the work until the work starts working. Because when she released Nasty, it didn't go viral right away. But since she kept posting about it, like a fan made that go viral on Twitter.
Yeah.
And whether that was just really good marketing, maybe they hired a marketing team to do it. Who knows? I'm not asking no fucking questions. It worked. But, like whether that was a team or whether that was a real random fan, if no one ever took that video of that white boy dancing and put Nasty to it and said, good morning, we would not have the viral sensation that we have now. And so, it's not to say that Tinashe hasn't always been that girl or any of that. It's just that when she went viral, she knew how to compound that moment, sustain that success, and boost it into this whole Nasty world tour that she's on right now. So it wasn't just a flash in the pan moment. She fucking had a whole mixtape of nasty remixes, like all of that. She did not just go viral and just like, oh, no. She rode that wave into her album release, literally. So yeah, but
Yes.
that's view on it. Go check it out. Go check it out.
Y'all, I'm plugging my good sis. Please go check out No Conformity's YouTube page. Like her rollout review
Yeah.
series is something that, man, I wish I had more of the time to like, for especially Tyler's. I'm just like, I need to go back and tap in with the project because I'm not as well versed. But I watched the rollout like roundup video that you did, and I was like, I need to go back and actually like listen through this project and like get more caught up. So it's been fun like diving into Tyler's rollout. I'm gearing up for this masterclass. But with that, y'all, we are going to wrap up today's masterclass session. Thank y'all so much for everyone who joined in live, tapped in with us on socials, left comments, asked some really great questions. We typically reserve time for Q&As at the end, but we answered a bunch throughout. So if you have any other questions for Jazz and I, please reach out to us via socials. Look at the hearts. I love the hearts. Jazz, before we wrap and let everyone go, can you let the people know where they can find you at?
Yes. On Instagram, I am no_conformity. On TikTok, just no conformity. Just search no conformity across all platforms. You're gonna see a redhead version of me like this. That's me. That's me. That's me. Those are my brand photos that I took like 5 years ago. I definitely need to update them. I'll have a new photo shoot one of these days. I'm too busy making money. But yes, please follow me across all platforms. No conformity is your girl.
Yes. And for all things UNE, y'all, for all the new friends that have joined us live today, thank you so much. It's so cool to see everyone that's come out. Y'all can tap in with the UNE Insiders community on socials at Unearthly Studios, or find us via the web, unearthlystudios.com. We'll be back with more masterclass sessions as we enter 2025 with more co-hosts, special guests, and we are going to be bringing some really cool topics to life. So if you have any suggestions for future topics of conversation within music, arts, entertainment, the music biz, drop us a DM on social. We're taking notes. We have a list of topics we're going to bring to life next. But with that, it is a wrap on today's masterclass session. Thank y'all for joining, and we will tap in with you guys soon. Bye, everyone.